Bosteels Tripel Karmeliet.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. This is a revisiting video and it's become something of a legend in the world of Belgian beers. This is Tripel Karmeliet from the Bosteels Brewery. Now, I have tried this before, blimey, well I've tried it since as well, but the first time I tried it was, I think 2019, and I thought it was quite a nice beer. I didn't believe the hype that said it was the best triple in Belgium, and I'm glad I didn't, because I've tried triples since then which have absolutely blown my mind. For example, the Trappist triples from Rochefort, Westmalle and Chimay in particular, but also some of the smaller breweries as well, like including Fort Lapin from Bruges. So I thought I'd revisit this, and obviously your palate changes over time. Once you've experienced some great beers, you go back and revisit the beers you thought were really good. I did think this was a good beer at the time, don't get me wrong. When I say I didn't believe the hype, there was rumours going, well not rumours, but it was widely touted that that was the best triple in the world. I didn't think so at the time, and I want to just confirm that now, because as I say, your palate changes over time. And I'll give you an example. I reviewed the Cranbourne Poacher recently, and when I first tried that, I really did like that. I thought it was a fantastic beer, and I tried it last night and I thought, Christ, this really isn't that great, do you know what I mean? So I'm perfectly willing to accept that some of the reviews that I did in the early days of this channel probably do need revisiting, if they're worthy of revisiting, and I'd love to see how my palate has changed. Now, one beer that really didn't disappoint, in fact it was even better, was Tint Meadow, and that still remains one of my favourite English beers of all time, and I reviewed it recently, and it was even better, and I discovered things that I really didn't discover when I first reviewed it. And of course that comes from experience, and it comes from reviewing beers. So that's why I want to do this Tripel Karmeliet. A little bit about the brewery. I didn't really go into the history of the brewery when I did the original reviews. It was just me tasting the beer and all that, and I look at it now excuse me, I look at it now and it looks pretty amateurish, so let's do things right. So Bosteels, they are the brewers who do who do this beer, and their claim is that they are older than Belgium itself, and that's true, because they were founded in 1791. Belgium was founded, or established, in 1830. Belgium was established as a buffer state when the European powers were getting a little bit worried about France, and they decided to allow what was part of the Netherlands and part of France, which was hence the reason why you get Flemish and French speaking parts of Belgium. It was designed as a buffer state, so you would have one country that wouldn't be aligned to any other, and it's probably not working out too well for them now, because there is a lot of animosity, well, certainly from what I've heard from going over to Belgium. The truth is, the gigs that I've been to over in Belgium, the two have got on really well, and to be honest, I really don't buy into it. You know, at the end of the day, you get good people and you get bad people, and that's all I care about. Anyway, let's get the fucking politics out of the way. As I say though, this was established in 1791, but the recipe is an even older recipe, and that comes from the 1600s. And the irony on that is it wasn't brewed until 1996, and in 2008 it won a World Beer Award, Gold Beer Award, for a pale ale, believe it or not. I don't know what was going on there, but after that it just shot to fame, and everybody said that this is the best triple out there. Well, even now I would question that, because I have tasted some absolutely mind-blowing triples. Some people don't like Belgian beer. They say it's too rich, too many adjuncts, and it's not sessionable. Well, that's not the point of certain Belgian beers. I mean, the Belgian beers are wide and varied. You get the extremes from the quadruples, which are usually dark, really strong, to the blondes, which are, you're sort of 5%. But again, the whole classification of blondes and triples and all that, you get strong blondes, which are 8%, and you get triples, which are a lower ABV. So yeah, and some people have tried to explain that to me, saying it's all to do with the grain bill and that kind of thing. I don't know, I really am confused about that. I still haven't worked it out now after 3 years of trying to get my mind around it. But there you go. Anyway, if you've heard of Bosteels, you're probably aware of the Pavel Quack beer that they do. I've reviewed that on the channel twice. That's a really good beer. I do like that. That's like a Belgian type brown ale that's drunk in a funny shaped glass with a special stand and all that. But yeah, it's an old brewery, put it that way. And I've not tried too much from them. I think the other beer that I did try a Bosteels beer when I was in Belgium, and it was a really obscure beer. For the life of me, I can't remember what it was. But it wasn't, you'd never see it over here. Oh well, too late now, spilt milk. Let's get this investigated. Right, this is a triple. It is 8.4%, and it is a 330ml bottle. There's so much spill on the back here. Blonde, robust, smooth and fruity. 3 grain beer with, was it, oh, fucking hell. My eyes are getting worse. Do you know what, I've got another pair of glasses, and these really are like fucking jam jars. And I got this for beer labels. I've got these are prescription jobs. By the end of the fucking year, I'm going to end up like fucking Stevie Wonder. Is that any better? No, it's even worse. Oh, hang on, here we go. With final fermentation in the bottle. So it's bottle fermented with pride and patience after Karmeliet tradition. Yeah, so the recipe is a Karmeliet recipe. And wheat, oats and barley. 100% natural beer. Blah, blah, blah. And that's really all you're getting. It's got the ingredients. I am fucked if I can read that, even with these fucking welding goggles on that I've got here. Right, there you go. You can get this in Morrison's, only in 750ml bottles, and to be honest, they're bottles for sharing. I'm not going to drink a fucking bottle of 8.4% beer on my Todd unless I've got some serious issues going. Fuck, do you know what? Everything's a blur now. Fucking hell, I am proper Mr. Magoo. Oh, and all of a sudden, everything comes back into view. Let's get this open and let's see what's going on. I've left this out. This was in the fridge, and I did another review of the Faust beer from Bavaria. That was pretty fucking crap, if truth be told. There's the cap, do like that, full colour cap. There you go. I don't know whether this is, someone said to me this is brewed by a big macro brewer now. Not sure, don't know. But it doesn't really matter. It's all about the beer, all about the flavour. I tried the Bass Ale, which is brewed by AB InBev, and that didn't taste too bad actually. So what do I know about macro brewers? I'm always slagging them off, and that wasn't bad. And AB InBev do Jupiler as well, which is a lovely Belgian beer. Yes, that is definitely bottle conditioned. There are loads of floaters in it. Now, if you look at there's fucking hundreds of floaters in there. I can see the yeast, it's dancing around. I don't know if you can see that or not. Come on, autofocus. Do your fucking thing. Can you see the floaters? I can see it from this side. That's what you're seeing on the camera is very much lighter than it actually is. Aroma. Wow. Big fucking aroma. Huge coriander. That's the first thing that hits you, is the big coriander. There's clove under there as well. Yeah, the aroma's big, really big. Right, looks great. Clove and coriander, they're the two big, as I would expect from a triple, they're the two big aromas that are coming through there. I can't get over the amount of yeast, the suspended yeast that's in there. I really hope you can see that. I can't really, I've got a little tiny monitor on the side of this camera and I can't see whether you're seeing that yeast. There is a fucking ton of it, and that's going to make a real difference to the flavour. Now, English beers say don't pour the yeast in. German wheat beers say to pour the yeast in, and of course Belgian beers do as well. So I always pour the yeast in regardless, English, German or Belgian. I think it makes a difference. Well, I know, I'm not saying I think, I know it makes a difference to the flavour. The carbonation on this is just fucking insane. Right, first mouthful from this is just going to be ethanol. So prepare yourself. I'm going to take one mouthful, get the ethanol out of the way, take a second mouthful, then you're going to get the flavours. Bottoms up. Fuck it. Yeah, that's ethanol. I will say though, there is a lot of white pepper in this, a huge amount of white pepper, and this is what I remember from recently. God, that really is peppery. Wow, that's ethanol and pepper, white pepper. I mean, that sounds horrendous in a beer, but believe me, this is where the flavour is going to come in. Wow, that is super complex. Really complex. There is a ton of white pepper, coriander and clove. No real banana that I'm getting. Bags of ethanol as well. And there is a hint of malt on there as well. But it's just drowned out by them spices. They really are big. Not bad. I can actually feel the yeast in my mouth. And the phenols and the esters that are coming off that yeast. The herbal, such as coriander, and the spice, such as white pepper and clove, that are coming off there. It's just insane. I take it back. I thought this was going to be me just saying, oh yeah, I've tried better triples and all that, and the hype around this. The flavour on this is huge. It is absolutely massive, and this isn't going to be for everyone. So if you're watching this and you're new to Belgian beer, I would probably avoid this, because you're just going to be overwhelmed by the spice and the clove and the pepper. The coriander is big initially, but then the spice takes over as well. Getting a slight touch of banana on there now, but it's not big. And it's quite malty on the finish, but this is really big in body and flavour. Yeah, complex. I think, and this is me with my prejudice, and I've just been fucking humbled now. I thought this was going to be me saying, oh yeah, everyone rants on about Tripel Karmeliet being great. Well, I'm here to say that I've tasted better triples, and I probably have, but fuck me, this is a worthy triple, believe me, it really is good. However, if you're not used to Belgian triples, then maybe start with some of the blondes. would recommend all day long the Chimay Blonde to start off with, just to get them typical Belgian flavours, get your palate accustomed to them, and then maybe go up to the triples. Of course, if you're used to Belgian beer, then you probably tasted this, but if you haven't, this is a good triple. But it's very, very spice heavy, I will say that. It doesn't make any mention of the hops that are in here. And you've got to remember, back in the 1600s, when this dates back from, the recipe dates back from, certainly in the Low Countries, as they were sort of known at the time, there was a style of beer called Gruit beer, which is basically beer without hops, and they would use all kinds of stuff in there, and it was basically your base ingredient would be malt and obviously yeast as well, but they would use all kinds of stuff. I mean, there's still Gruit beer now which uses heather, that kind of thing. I wouldn't argue, but I would say that this probably does contain hops, but that I would imagine they would be a late addition. I can't taste any. There's no discernible hop character on this at all. It's all about the adjuncts in this, and of course Belgian beer is full of adjuncts. Now a lot of people frown on adjuncts and say that it's a bad thing to have in beer, because they're obviously looking at the German styles and saying, you know, oh, you don't put sugar in beer, you don't put this kind of thing, you don't. I'm not against adjuncts at all. Wheat is an adjunct if you really want to get strict. I think if you do it properly, you could more or less put anything in there. You know, there's certain British brewers that use invert sugar, they use licorice, they use aniseed, that type of thing, and it works. It's all about the right balance. And I think with the recipe they've got here, it's really spice heavy, as in clove and what I don't think it is white pepper, but that's the only thing I can liken it to. And I'm sure it's coming off the yeast. Well, it is coming off the yeast, because yeast is a huge thing in Belgian beer, as in German wheat beer as well. And I've done reviews of beers without the yeast sediment in beers and with it in beers, and the difference is fucking stark, believe me. Let's dive in again. This is 8.4 and I'm fucking murdering it. Look at me, silly bastard. It's lovely. I really do like that. Typically Belgian. That is the characteristic of a good Belgian beer. A good Belgian blonde or a good Belgian triple. Clove, white pepper, a certain amount of banana. You're not really going to get the banana in this, but it's nice. I really do like it, and fuck me, I've almost caned that. Best do the verdict, eh? So what is the verdict on Tripel Karmeliet? Well, as I said previously, I thought this was going to be me being very smug and saying, oh, people say this is a fucking great beer and I've tried better triples. I have, but this is really flavoursome, very complex. If you like your spicy Belgian beers, and I think the one that comes to mind that can only match it, well, surpass it for spiciness, is that Duchess de Bourgogne. I tried one of theirs, oh blimey, that must be about nearly a year ago now, and that was just pure spice. I didn't really like it, to be honest. This is heavy on the spice and on the herbs as well. You do get some coriander on there. Ethanol, of course, is going to be running through it all the time, and this is an acquired taste. If you are not a fan of, I'm looking at it and I'm saying if you're not a fan of Belgian beer, but if you are, you've probably tried it. But for 330ml, you'd be hard pushed to get as much emphasis on the spicier and herbal side of Belgian beer than this, because this really does highlight the herbal and the spicy notes. I will say there are better triples out there. And a few that spring to mind are the ones that I've mentioned recently. The Fort Lapin, I mean, from a smaller brewer, Fort Lapin's Tripel. I thought that was fantastic. They're from Bruges. That was really good. The Chimay range, the blondes and the triples, certainly the Chimay triple, the Westmalle triple as well. That's fantastic. And these are all beers you can get in the supermarket. The Fort Lapin you can't, obviously, but the Chimay and the Westmalle you can get in Morrison's. And you can also get the 750ml bottles of this stuff. Now, to be honest, unless you're sharing it, or unless you're on a fucking mission, don't buy a 750ml bottle, because this is going to get a bit of hard work after about a pint of it. And as I say, you're going to be struggling. The warmer it gets, the more emphasis there are on the flavours. I must admit, I did take this out of the fridge. I let it cool down. I did a review to let it cool down. I'm not sure what the exact temperature is. It doesn't say it on here. I'm not going to see it with these fucking eyes. But I think the warmer it gets, the more emphasis there's going to be on the spice and the herbal notes. But it's quite a special beer, I will say that. I don't care who brews it. There was rumours that going around that AB InBev are doing this now. Well, if they are, then I'm not seeing a difference in the flavour. I think it's great beer, great flavour, very flavoursome. I've got a Belgian mate who actually doesn't like this stuff. He said it's just not his thing. He drinks Stella. Well, he drinks Stella in Belgium, but he also drinks it over here. And yeah, he thinks it's the same, and I know for a fact it ain't the fucking same. But that's beside the point. For that's going to get an 8.5 out of 10, and I think I could be mistaken, but I think that's the mark that I gave it when I originally reviewed it. It's a nice beer, it has to be said, and I'm not going to slag it off. I'm not going to say it. The people who are saying, "Oh, this is the best triple in the world," yeah, it may be for you. I have tasted better, and that's why it's going to get an 8.5. And the ones I've just mentioned, I think are better. I think they're more balanced, certainly more drinkable, and I think just nice. But this is good, don't get me wrong. I would never turn my nose up at Tripel Karmeliet. It's a great beer, love it. 8.5 out of 10, recommended. And remember, beer is working class champagne.